Hello, Algebra 2. Today's October 26th. Today we're going to start Notes 29. The essential question is, how can we use transformations to graph an absolute value function? And at the end of our Notes 29, you should be able to identify the A, H, and K numbers and use them with the parent function to graph. There's no homework tonight. Okay. So I don't want you to write yet. So we're discussing the transformation of absolute value functions. And I just wanted to show you the main equation for absolute value with transformations. And transformation just means to move. And so I don't want you to write because you'll have a chance to do this in a minute. I just want you to notice that what we're going to be talking a lot about is A, H, and K. And those will become numbers. And this is how a graph moves. So the y, the equals, the absolute value bars, and the x always stay put. So I want you today to focus on these numbers, okay? And the signs of those numbers, whether they're positives or negatives. Okay, so if you can start writing now, this will be Notes 29 on your paper in the top left. The absolute value function with translations is, so I want you to write that out, and I want you to write it kind of big. And make sure that you write your absolute value bars tall, so they don't look like the number 1. Okay, and I'm going to kind of summarize the notes here for you. You can hit pause if you need a minute to write that down. Okay, so remember, we're going to be looking at these spots, and I want you to draw arrows just like that. And the number here is going to make it either wider or narrower. So what I mean by that is it could be really wide or it could be a really narrow absolute value. And so wider or narrower. And if it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. Because you can have a graph that opens down. Depends if it has a negative or not. So when it's wider, it's a regular number. When it's narrower, it's a fraction. I can write fraction better there. Okay, and then H, let me change colors because that might help, is counterintuitive. Counterintuitive. I'm going to write that bigger up here because it's hard to write that word small. Counter, and it is one word, counterintuitive. What does that really mean? It means opposite of what you see. And that's very important that you know that H is always counterintuitive. Opposite of the number you see. And then H will move either right or left. And K moves up or down. Maybe we should have drawn a little arrow here. Regular number is wider and fraction is narrower. Could use some numbers there, or some arrows there. Okay, you can hit pause if you need a minute. Now, these are very important notes. You need to make sure that these are written neatly, large, and everything that we have there. And make sure you understand what counterintuitive means. It's opposite of what you see, the opposite number of what you see. I'm going to move on, but you can hit pause if you need a minute. Okay, you do not need to, you don't need to copy this. You don't have to copy. So transformations of absolute value functions. A translation is a transformation that shifts a graph either vertically, that's up and down, horizontally, left and right, or it could do it both. And it doesn't change its shape. In other words, it changes it, it's still a V, okay? And I just put this equation, the basic equation, I just printed it here again. You don't have to write it again. I just printed on the notes. Okay, so you need to copy this down. If K, the number on the outside of the absolute value, is positive, then it shifts it up. If K on the outside of the absolute value is negative, it shifts it down. If H has a plus sign with it, then it's going to shift left. And if H has a negative sign, then it's going to shift right. So you need to take a minute to write these down. Hit pause, please. Okay, so let's practice that. If you can go ahead and write down number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to talk about the movements. So hit pause, please. Okay, so first of all, let's look at this one. I don't want you to do anything right now except watch me, okay? I'm assuming you came back to this video with all of these written down. If not, you need to hit pause and then come back. So I'm just going to draw your attention to this one right here. Now this one has H and K, and just let me write that out. So what is the K on this first problem? All right, so that's the issue. So if you don't visually see a number in that spot, it's okay to add 0. So this would be the H, this would be the K. Now I want you to start writing. So point an arrow to that problem, because this is all about position. The H number is inside the absolute value bars. It's also opposite of what you see. So we're thinking -4, and -4 would move it to the left. So this is going to go left 4. And K is no up or down. No, oops. No up or down. Now in this case, on the next one, we could really think of this as y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 0 plus 9. So if you don't visually see it, so now you know where h is at, and this is your k. So no left or right, but this one moves it up 9. Okay, so this is a -5, so you have to think opposite. You think +5, and positive would mean moves to the right. So moves right 5. And there's no K on the outside, so no up or down. So this one is the same as x plus 0. So no right or left, because that's what h does. It moves it left or right. And this one is the K, and it's -2, so it moves down 2. This one has both shifts, so it's going to go right or left or up or down. So this is your H, this is your K. H is always opposite of what you see, so you see -6, so you have to think positive, and positive goes to the right, so this moves right 6, and this moves up 2. Okay, and then the next one here, whoops, sorry about that. This is your H, this is your K. So this really, we have to think opposite, which is negative. And negative moves to the left on the graphs. So this moves left 8. And this is the K value, so it moves down 10. Okay, so that's H and K for today, and tomorrow we're going to tackle the A value. Okay, so you're going to hold on to these notes for today. Do not upload them because we're not done yet, okay? You can hit pause if you still need a minute to finish this.